You know, funny story. I owned, carried, and shot one of these guns for probably 2 years before I finally got that. The reason they call it the 365 is because you can carry it 365 days a year. It just like clicked one day. I was like,
The fact that it had to click is a problem.
I know. Maybe Sig is just really bad at marketing. No, that's not it.
Hey everybody, Zack and Andrew coming to you for Half-Ass Professionals, where today we're going to talk about some SIGs. So, it's April. This is not an April Fool's joke, even though it is April Fool's Day. But we have SIG Day coming up on 4/20.
That's purely a coincidence.
Smoking hot deals, baby.
Smoking hot.
Smoking hot deals. So we have, just like our Smith event or any other manufacturer event, if you've ever been to any of those, we have SIG on site. We've got a bunch of deals, swag, a whole lot of fun, food trucks, a top shot, and a special secret that I'm going to talk about very briefly at the end of the video.
Sig is also bringing out one of their professional trainers with a very wide offering of guns that are all going to be shootable. So if there's a SIG that you were interested in maybe getting your hands on, trying out, going into the range, doing some shooting, it'll most likely be here on that day, and you'll be able to take it into the range and shoot it.
Just not the 300 blackout spear, because they can't get those things to run for shit.
We've had some issues with the spears lately.
We haven't. SIG has.
Yeah, that's true.
But nonetheless, SIG is the largest gun manufacturer in the world for a reason. So they do make some pretty quality stuff. So, but yeah, SIG Days, 4/20, smoking hot deals. That just happened to be a happy accident. And then SIG will be on site to do a bunch of fun stuff. So what's the purpose of today's video? Well, we have the #1 selling gun of the country, and it has been one of the top selling guns in the world for the last, call it 4 or 5 years, which is the 365.
Just the family of 365 in general is when people ask, you know, what do you sell the most of, you know, or they everyone assumes, you know, you probably sell 10-to-1 Glocks to anything else. No, not at all. The truth is that the Sig 365 has been the king and has reigned supreme now in the firearms industry for many years, and the family grows ever bigger. And today we have kind of an offering sitting here on the table of the 3 most popular models.
You're Goldilocks, and these are the 3 bears.
Yeah, pretty.
So we're going to try your porridge now. So we couldn't pull every 365 because SIG brings out a new one every week. So by the time this video comes out, there's going to be a different model out anyway.
There are probably 30 or 40 variations, and that's not even talking about colors or textures or things like that.
Yeah, so we got you the sizes. So we've got small, medium, and large. You have the original 365 in its frame size. You have the 365 XL. So the original 365 10-round mag, the 365 XL, a little longer barrel, 12-round mag. And then you have what they call the macro, which is a 17-round gun with the barrel's a little different size-wise depending on if it's the comped version or not. But overall, the top-selling family of firearms in the country, and has been for a while, like Andrew said. So, which one is right for you? Well, we have some videos to clip in about which one's not right for us. So, we, as always, we do some test shooting and things like that. We took these bad boys into the range. And let me tell you, macro blew my socks off.
It really did surprise me. I mean, I started out, I think a couple years ago when the 365 was all the rage. I upgraded from an original Smith & Wesson Shield to a 365. Massive step in the right direction. Okay? But the 365 always felt a little small in my hands. The reloads were tricky, which I think we got a couple good video clips of difficult reloads with 365.
God help you if you're not 5'4".
Right. So I ended up switching to the 365 XL because it was just a little bit bigger in my hand. The reloads were easier.
A little bigger mag capacity.
Little bigger capacity. And I gave the 365 to my wife.
It was very tiny.
And she, actually, it fits her very well. She shoots it great. Now, this was my first time shooting the macro, and holy crap, did it kind of blow my mind. That gun barely moved when you shot it. Both of these guns, they can feel a little snappy sometimes, But that,
Oh no, the original 365, it's snappy regardless. If you don't have the extended mag in there, the 12 round with the sleeve,
oh yeah,
the flush mag, it's gonna snappy as shit, and it's because you can't get your pinky. At least I can't. Again, if you guys were seeing us, we're not small people. I'm 6 foot, Andrew's 6'3". We don't have small hands, so flush mag on that gun, I can only get 2 fingers on it. I can't get my pinky on it.
it is a very tiny gun.
Yes, to the point where I think in the video I literally yelled, "I feel like a giant." But the macro, man. So size wise, the macro is 3/4 of an inch longer in the grip and the barrel, or the slide. We'll call it the slide, because the macro have a few different versions. This one specifically is the macro comp. So it has the original 365 size barrel, but the XL slide, and they put in a chamber for a compensator, like an integrated compensator.
Yeah.
And boy, does it work well.
It does. It works surprisingly well. I personally have never liked compensated pistols. I've always felt that they drive the pistol down in a very awkward feeling way that I'm just not used to. I don't feel like that at all when I shoot the 365X macro. I go out and I shoot it, and it just feels like the gun stays flat. And because the grip is just a little bit bigger than the XL, I can just get such more control with that pistol that it just stays perfectly on target all throughout my shooting, and it just feels so incredibly smooth. And the fact that the size difference between these two guns is so small, but you're going from a 12-round gun to a 17-round gun blows my mind.
Yeah, the mag capacity on a gun that size is pretty nuts, because that's the same mag capacity as a Glock 17. I mean, 5-inch gun, long frame.
Right.
I mean, and it's twice the size of that thing. Which, so you look at this thing, you're like, okay, it's got a 3-inch barrel. Somebody's going to call me on this, but it's like a 3 or 3.1-inch barrel.
I think it's 3.5, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's small, so you automatically assume snappy. But my lord, that damn comp that's milled in the front of that thing, it doesn't snap like a normal comp does. It's almost like it preloads it. So when we shot, we'll clip in videos of this stuff. When we were shooting it, it was pretty eye opening, and I feel the same way about Sig as I do Smith & Wesson. I've tried desperately to like the 320, and I just can't. I don't get why. I bought a Spectre comp that my wife now owns. But the triggers in these things, I'm admitted, I've said it a bunch. I'm a trigger snob, and the trigger on 320s I don't like is a little spongy, and I get it. It's the architecture of how the fire control group's designed. The macro, all the 365s for really, but the macro specifically, I love that trigger for a carry duty gun. I mean, shit, you take this macro, appendix carry with a mag carrier, so you're carrying 34 rounds on board plus one if you want to take the mag out, load an extra bullet.
Right.
So 34 to 35 rounds. Hollison 407 or 507K sitting on top. Personally, I'm a 407 guy. I don't see the point of having a dual reticle for a carry gun. And like a TLR7, dude, you have an ability to see in the dark, acquire your target fast as shit, and you've got 34 to 35 rounds to be able to do whatever you've got to do to defend yourself. And it's easily concealable.
It is, and that's the thing. It's hard to sit here and compare these guns to each other. When you start getting into the macro, you have to start comparing it to other 17-round guns.
Yeah. So this one's too hot. This one's too cold. This one's just right.
It kind of feels like it is.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If it's summer and I'm wearing shorts and a light t-shirt and I just want to clip something on, and just, if I'm going to be walking around all day, I love throwing on the regular 365. I can wear this all day and not even know it's there. It's a great little gun for that.
No, I don't disagree with that. The Borrego 365 is a phenomenal gun.
But I don't
My
necessarily.
problem is it's just too small for me.
And I don't necessarily enjoy shooting it.
You could run this damn thing in leagues.
Yeah. I mean, I would shoot an X macro in competition. I would shoot an X macro.
Don't they make a competition model of it?
They do. They make one called the TAC Ops, which is, it comes with extra mags and a bunch of upgrades and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
But it's a carry gun.
I think it's cheaper too.
What?
Because
it doesn't have the comp.
It's not comped.
Yeah, the comp takes milling time. I get it. But so there is a lot of options when it comes to the 365 family. We have the 3 major sizes here on the table. realistically, what you've got to do to figure out which one fits you best is put them in your hands. Now, price point wise, you're going from $500 for the basic, $500-ish for the basic P365 to the macro being $820, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, there are some Gucci models, like they did the AXG in these, so there's one out there with a metal frame and stuff with it too that are like $1,200-$1,400.
They can get pricey, especially when you start getting into the Sig custom shop stuff.
Yeah.
It gets a little crazy.
But at the end of the day, I don't really subscribe to all that stuff because for a carry gun, I don't need all the race cuts, the lightning cuts, all this other stuff. This gun right here, I'm not a Sig guy. I might be after shooting it. I might retire my 43X and go to carrying a macro.
And what's the size comparison between that and 43X? They're pretty similar.
Very similar. Now, to be fair, my 43X, I am carrying the Shield Arms mag, so I have 15 rounds. This still beats it with a flush mag, and then my Shield Arms are flush too. But it's not that much different. I mean, not at all. What you get is this, from what I found when trying to find a holster for it. The macro is its own unique size because it's a little bit wider. So the macro will not work with existing holsters unless it's some sort of like universal holster.
Another big change they made when they went up to the macro was they gave it a real Picatinny rail instead of having the Sig rail.
And that's why I think TLR7 on there. You can see in the dark, quiet target really fast, and then you've got 34 rounds of hate if you need it. So the texturing on the frame is aggressive enough to where it's not going to slip out of your hands, but it's not overly aggressive to where it's rubbing up against your belly or your, however you carry your.
It's not gonna wear through your t-shirt.
No, it's not gonna wear on you at all. I mean, it's slick. I'm a big fan. Oversized mag release too, the diamond or the triangular shaped mag release. So wherever you're on, you can get purchase on it and drop the mags on it. Well, the mag will release and drop, unlike us shooting the regular 365 where I had to strip the mag out because my fat hands got in the way and couldn't strip the mag out. But there's a lot of options in the family.
Another reason why the 365 line has been so successful is because it's an incredibly reliable line of pistols too. I know hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who have a 365, and I know a lot of shooters who have put thousands upon thousands upon thousands of rounds for these guns, and they just last. They just keep going. They barely require any kind of service.
They also find their way home.
Yeah.
So, funny story. I'm not going to name names, but you know who you are. Lost it in the woods, deer hunting. Went out the next day, found it. Had it on the back of their vehicle when they're unloading stuff.
Drove away.
It ended up going to Newark PD, and they called him. We're like, hey, we have your gun. So he has lost and recovered this gun twice, and anybody else would have never been able to find it.
He's just missing the old public bathroom back of the toilet trifecta.
I mean, do we count here? Because I think every one of us has done that here.
I've never put my gun down in a bathroom.
I have an office, so I leave mine on my desk. But some people don't. I mean, customers do it all the time. You'll see them and they'll run back. They go back into the range, and they come back out of the range like, oh, shit, I forgot my gun. But, yeah, 365 line, they are extremely popular for a reason. Out of the box, they do anything and everything you want it to. It was an innovation from Sig off the rip when they first came out. It was the first hybrid double stack micro compact 9mm that existed, that ran reliably, that came with steel mags, so they drop free every time. All 365s anyway, come with at least the Sig Light night sights, so not the greatest. I'm personally a fan of something with tritium in it. That way it has a half-life and it's always working. Some of these get a little wonky with needing ambient light to charge them, but you don't have to upgrade these things like at all. So other than if you want to slap some accoutrements on it, like a Holosun and a TLR7. By the way, this is my personal gun. After shooting these yesterday, I bought one. I loved it so much that I could not resist it. So now I'm on the search for a holster, and I need to go put a Holosun on it, but I wanted to put it in its naked configuration for the table.
Yeah, and I kind of feel bad because I already own both of these, but now I'm...
But how many ARs do you own?
Oh, God.
Yeah. You can own another 365. It's different. I don't care what your wife says. It's different.
Maybe I'll just get a different color, you know?
Well, your XL's a tan one because it's the NRA instructor.
Yeah,
right?
I have a peanut butter flavored medium size. I have a chocolate flavored small. So
you just need a black macro.
maybe I'll get like a gray one. That's different enough.
Yeah, be the gray man.
Sure.
But yeah, the fun thing about all this stuff is we have all these options in a rental rack. So if you want to come and put your paws on one and get some recoil underneath your belt shooting these things, come and do it. The best way to see if a gun is going to be right for you is to get trigger time behind it. And fortunately, we have a gorgeous indoor range that you can come in and do that with all these platforms available to come in and shoot, provided that they're not down for maintenance, but none of them are right now. So, again, we've done it before. Rental guns get obliterated. They just get abused. And that's kind of how I judge how reliable a gun is if it's on our rental program and it's been there for a year plus, how many times we had to service like actual broken stuff on it, and it's not often. I mean,
it's really not, especially for flagship companies like your Sigs, your Glocks, your Smith & Wessons.
The Macro is, I think the Staccato is the most rented gun because it's a Staccato, but the Macro I think is second most. And if I remember right, we broke an extractor spring, but that was after thousands and thousands and thousands.
Yeah, it was well over a year of it being on the rack as one of the most popular rentals. So
yeah, they're fun. So yeah, if you guys are looking for the quintessential carry gun and you have a little bit of budget behind you, 365 is one of the first places we point you. The direct competitors to the 365 are the Glock 43X. Shield Plus now that it's the hybrid double stack as well. Mm-hmm. There's other companies that try to compete in that world. Like, I love Canic. The MC9 is not. It's a good gun.
For the price point, they're pretty good.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of that gun. There's just not a lot of support on the market for it, for a lot of the holsters and things like that for defensive carry.
The P10S is still a good option.
I love my P10. Problem is mag capacity.
Yeah, you're going down to 10.
When you start doing the chart of mag capacity, all the upgrades, things like that, the 6 every time beats it on paper.
Yeah.
That said, you can't change the physical architecture and grip angle of what you like. I mean, if you like a Glock grip angle, the basic 365 is not going to work for you. But for some reason, and I'm a Glock grip angle guy, I like Glock, a CZ. The Macro fits really well. I mean, it works really well. But Sig Days is coming up. We'll be running a week's sale for that. It's going to be a great time. Awesome atmosphere. Swag, having a Sig instructor out to shoot. It's going to be awesome. Again, it is on 420 with smoking hot deals.
And all of these guns will be available to try out, and many, many, many more.
Yep. We'll be running all kinds of fun stuff. All right, so that brings me to the next little side of this before we end it is our new secret project. So the boys in Monsoon, again, are hooking us up. So we have a special collab on the P320 coming from Monsoon this go-around. Again, limited supplies just because production capacity. I mean, those guys help us out and they bump us to be able to help facilitate some of this stuff. But we have 320 carry frames that will be outfitted with the Monsoon stipple job and a multicolor Cerakote and some milling and stuff done, to where if you have a basic P320 and you wanted to have something Monsoonized, this is a good way to get and break the mold into a custom gun without having to actually send it out and wait 12 to 14 weeks to get your gun back.
And that's when we saw Sig Days coming up, we knew that we had to really take advantage of the modularity of all these pistols. So anybody who's owned a Sig or will in the future will learn that these guns, they're like Lego sets. You can take apart everything. You can swap all the pieces. You can change things between one gun to another. And everything's based around a central control unit. So what we did was we essentially contacted Monsoon and said, what could we do to be able to offer somebody a factory custom Monsoon Sig that doesn't involve buying a whole new gun
or milling the slide and all that stuff for something they already have.
So you could already have a Sig 320 and then we could provide you with the parts to make it a Monsoon 320. So definitely check that out. When Sig Days comes up, it's going to be pretty cool.
They're in the works now. I should have them soon to do some pictures and videos and stuff on them. But we've got the 320 guys covered, whether you have a compact or a carry or a full size, it'll work. But we also have the M17, M18 guys covered too. because we had tan frames done in a desert arid, which looks so cool.
Yeah, the big difference there is going to be the safety cutout.
Yep.
So all you guys who have an M18 or an M17, you're still going to be able to be included in this project. There's going to be an offering for you. So
these are going to go fast. So we will keep you updated on everything. And then, we just got done with Smith & Wesson Days. Our Smith & Wesson Monsoon bundles, or not bundles, our project with those guys lasted all of 3 minutes. So these are going to go quick, boys and girls. So we will have them up. We'll keep you updated on when they go live, but it is first come, first served. After that, we take pre-orders on them for standard production time. We want to get you this cool stuff, but production becomes problematic because of how successful Monsoon is. I mean, those guys are rad. Love Zack and Vanity to death, and they make some of the best and coolest stuff out there on the aftermarket. So thrilled to be able to work with those guys, have them local to us, and be able to use them to do some joint projects for what's the most important, the end user, which is our customer base. So, but I'm excited. SIG's going to be fun. Always is a good time. I don't really have anything else to add other than we'll see you on 420 with smoking hot deals. You got anything else to add?
no, that's it.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. We appreciate you taking the time to listen. Don't forget to follow us at BSC Newark on everything you can. And then we'll see you soon. That's Andrew. I'm Zach. Later.